It is 7 PM on October 15th, which is a Tuesday. Let me move that away from that speaker. That's a little loud. And we're gonna open the Committee of Committees meeting minutes. Will you take roll call, please?
Jen?
Here.
Jared absent at the moment. John?
Here.
Tina?
Here.
Chris?
Here.
William is absent. Okay, no.
I'll make a motion, let Jared Doan participate remotely by phone.
I'll second that.
John makes a motion for Jared to participate remotely. Dina second. English is tough today. Any discussion? Roll call? We can do all in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Jared is in at 7:01.
I'll make a motion to
Call for Jared.
Jared?
Yes.
Here?
Here.
Okay, thanks.
I'll make a motion to approve the September 17th, 2019 Committee of the Committee meeting minutes.
Second.
Dina makes a motion to approve September 7th, 2019 minutes. John seconds. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes 7:02. Corey?
All right, Corey with LR Communications. Appreciate the opportunity to come back and kind of present on this fiber deal that we spoke about over a year ago now. And I emailed Brett and Dina regarding the fiber, and she'd asked me to come and kind of talk to you folks and see if you had any questions and kind of talk about our tentative plan that we had talked about here. So about a year ago, I came in and talked to the board about the ability or the need for us for fiber. There's also the ability for the village to utilize that same fiber since the fiber path was built for the Verizon equipment that's on the water tower. And I have a relationship with a company that owns that fiber. They come into our office and leave forever. They got equipment there. So I pursued that a little bit more, and they said, yep, absolutely. There's plenty of fiber there. It's not going to get utilized for probably anything else. And so they shot us a number with a IRU cost for 20 years at $10,000 for, 2 fibers, 3 fibers, whatever we needed. And pretty fair deal regarding the fiber access for that, considering that it's built through the subdivision under the train tracks and ties back onto the highway and gives access for pretty much whatever to the water tower and the maintenance building. So a discussion with Brett and Kenny when he was here, considering what you guys do and the wireless link that you got over there, the fiber I think could be a great benefit for the village to utilize, as well as we could use fiber access to get over there. Currently, right now, we're not at capacity in our link that's over the wireless link over the train tracks, but it's growing, and the fiber would be the next best thing. If you guys don't know, we're currently working with Ogle County, and they put more stuff up on the tower recently for some police and fire stuff, and we transport all of their public safety radio needs from the water tower back to Oregon. The fiber would be a huge asset for the reliability of that as well. So I prepared a little narrative for the breakdown. And did you guys receive that?
No, I didn't forward it. I thought
You didn't forward it?
were
Okay.
present to
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought.
them. My apologies. I don't think so.
Think
Let me
so
check.
either.
No?
Okay. Well, I could go over it. So like I said, the IRU was for 20 years, and it was $10,000 for usage of the fiber. We could split that for $5,000 for us, $5,000 for the village, and that would give you guys access into that fiber as well. Village cost, $5,000 for the 20-year IRU. It's a non-reoccurring cost. That would tie in the basically get you to the iFiber, where you guys have an agreement with them now, bringing fiber to Village Hall. Splicing at the iFiber handhole, they said was $1,800 one-time cost. The underground construction figure was split at a total of $1,375. That would be to build from the WINS handhole that's on the property right next to the well building adjacent to the water tower. And then the splicing at that handhole will be additional $1,000. One-time cost. The underground duct and materials, $885. with a grand total of the non-reoccurring costs of $10,060. I did speak with the WINS folks, and I beat them up a little bit more. They did lower it by $1,000 verbally. I don't have that in writing yet, but I think if we were to be able to do this, they would certainly drop it down to that $9,000 that the gentleman spoke to me on the phone about. Usage costs I talked to iFiber, and they said, since you guys already have some sort of an agreement in place, the annual usage cost to the village would be $840 a year to tie in your village hall to essentially that fiber, to get fiber connectivity from here to the well building. And then there's WINS maintenance is $150 a year, so I split that between us and you guys. So your annual total cost would be $915 for the usage of that fiber. I can just say that was an expensive build that WINS took on to build the fiber to the water tower, and I'm certain that the cost that they quoted for the IRU cost is more than reasonable considering what that build would have cost if we were to do that today. Is there kind of any questions on how I explain that?
I'm gonna try to forward to everybody okay.
The data link for the water tower has always been
Brett?
an issue.
Okay, no problem. And with talking with Brett on a route to get to the building, the handholds where the fiber's currently at is on the east side of the driveway going into the well building. And they would have to get under the driveway. It would all be directional board. We worked with him to come up with a plan that would keep it in the grass and keep it about 1.5 feet off the building, and terminate on the northwest corner of the well building. That would bring the fiber inside.
Take one of these and send it over.
And I don't have that drawn out, but I know Dina had some concern about getting fiber over to the water tower, not tearing up the blacktop and things like that. And this actually doesn't tear anything up, so.
Yeah, and then I had another question too. So I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
So I have Wi-Fi at my house, and I know we have Wi-Fi here and whatnot, and I don't have any problems with it or anything like that. So I struggle with the whole thought process of like the iFiber and the logic of it. Not because, largely because I don't know the difference really, to be honest with you. I have good Wi-Fi right now, so it's why.
Right.
And like you had mentioned, where I know right now we don't use the email anymore and all of that stuff. So I just wondered in terms of like the iFiber, if we're doing okay with this, what does that do for us other than, does it make faster or?
Well, there's your guys' 4.9 wireless link stuff that they put up there. When Kenny was here, he was explaining to me that there's bottlenecks. I think Brett can speak to that as well. That the fiber is going to solidify that path for you guys. You know, you won't have to do that wirelessly between, however your guys' wireless network is set up with the village, and I can't speak on that.
I can't either.
I believe it jumps from the maintenance building across to the water tower, doesn't it? But that was because it's so expensive to run anything under the track, so we went that direction rather than... Yep. And we did the same thing, put the towers up there and didn't go under the tracks. Now that the fiber's there, it presents an opportunity to utilize that fiber at a really reasonable cost, you know, to be able to do so. It mitigates the bottlenecks. You would have connectivity between your well building, and I don't know how the architecture is designed for the village, so I cannot speak on that, but I know there's some bottlenecks within the network, from cameras, and, you know, if the scalability is not there with the wireless versus what you could do with the fiber, you would potentially have a backup if the fiber would be cut, if the wireless link would remain. But the fiber, by large, gives you a huge amount of scale going forward. Did that answer your question, kind of, I hope?
Somewhat. So I guess my question, like, a little bit to the board is I don't know the need of that, so that's one thing I just wasn't sure about. That would be something maybe that we want to discuss.
Okay.
And then, so then it was my understanding, so I didn't realize, so like you were talking about the $10,060 being split in half.
Right.
But then there'd still be the annual cost per year, the $950.
And that's
correct?
because iFiber owns the lateral coming from Elman 72 up to the Village Hall here, and that would be the tie-in point from the WINS fiber to Village Hall. And it's like a block, or a little over a block.
We already pay iFiber, though.
You do, you pay them for your service, I understand.
Right.
And that's what that is. They have a special rate for municipalities to provide that to you guys. But for usage of the fiber, for this, in this case, you could do whatever you want on it. You know, it's, you could put servers over there, whatever. It's connectivity from point A to point B, from this building to the well building at that point. So that's what
The issue with the data link is that it's always the point where we're at our slowest point in the network. So anything that comes back from the water tower, so anything dealing with,
when we're trying to communicate.
and that actually, if, that actually connects you to, from the water tower to the sewer treatment plant, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
no.
I thought it did. I thought that the link from the sewer treatment plant came to the water tower.
It does. The
Okay.
sewer does, yeah, because
Yeah.
line of sight, we had to put up the pole.
Yeah, that's what
Right, right,
We put the pole up, we put an antenna on the pole because all the trees were too tall.
right.
Yeah.
It eliminates bottlenecks hugely.
Yeah,
On-
I mean, we'd
on
still
that.
have that one because we don't have fiber running out there, but we wouldn't have the one that jumps across the tracks that brings everything back here.
Yep, but I think the way that the network runs, you've already got fiber to the maintenance building,
Right,
and then you would have fiber to your well building.
right.
So the only one you really want to have fiber would be the, sewer treatment plant?
And it's just a wireless link between the two, and it would come through the fiber back to Village Hall.
Correct, yep, and it eliminates huge bottlenecks.
But that's not, that affects when we use the cameras out there as well, because that's what really sucks up bandwidth.
Yep.
So then, let me just ask, so then you're saying then that respectively would help with the cameras then? but-
Absolutely, I would absolutely be for this.
Okay.
That 10,060, I believe you said to split the cost, I believe that is our half, right?
Correct. And it actually might be $500 less than the total there. The guy did verbally tell me over the phone that we could do this, so, you know, for $9,000.
According to what I see, the first line, that 5,000 is our half of the 10.
It would be 45,
Then the
it would be
1,800.
4,500.
Right.
Actually,
So all of that is on top of that, so then still our total cost is the $10,000.
Yeah, $10,000 for the non-reoccurring, but then the annual cost is $915. That includes the maintenance being split, it was $150. I split it for the piece going from the water tower to the iFiber connection. And then the bigger part is $840 annual for the iFiber usage of the strand of fiber in their cable to tie in this building in there. Now, what this doesn't include, because I don't know what you guys would need, would be the network equipment to talk from here to the well building. It can really be done pretty cheap with media converters. You could probably be under a couple $100.
And we may, I mean, from what we're doing from, right now, if we're doing fiber all the way to the maintenance building, then we're
Yep.
wireless across.
Yep.
I gotta believe whatever connection we're using at the maintenance building could move.
Say that again, Rick?
It just seems that if we already have the stream set up to go from here to the maintenance building,
Yep.
and it wireless across the
Fiber
water
from,
tower.
yep, then it's, yep.
Somewhere there's an endpoint that could just move, it seems like, to move the endpoint of the fiber to the water tower that's currently at the maintenance building.
Possibly, for whatever would work for your guys' network best. I think it also mitigates the fact if you lose something on a water tower, you don't lose your entire network. You know, you're diversified that way, by having the fiber coming from here to the maintenance building and from here to the water tower, or the well building potentially.
who pays for maintenance?
Pardon me?
Who pays for maintenance?
I'm sorry.
Who pays for maintenance? Sorry,
Which end of maintenance? Where the maintenance is $75, that's the annual maintenance charge at the fiber company.
I'm saying if something goes wrong, something happens, we
You-
pay for the fix.
Like, equipment end, like your guys' equipment?
No, fiber.
Fiber, it's included in there, there's nothing, we don't pay it.
So if there's somebody cuts it somewhere along.
Yeah, no, it's theirs, they own the cable, we just, in the IRU, we just get the use
Yeah,
of the fiber, yep,
gotcha.
it's their baby, yeah.
Sometimes they charge you stuff that,
Yeah, fiber's expensive to fix, we don't want that
Yeah,
cost,
well,
so.
sometimes they add it on so that they know.
No,
that they
and
know
that's where the
they-
$75 maintenance fee is, that's for the, like your locating, services and stuff like that, it's a very small, short route, so the maintenance is extremely cheap.
I'm all for solidifying our network and getting rid of.
And to be honest with you too, I mean, there is fiber, I work with iFiber over near Scandia to get over to the, sewer treatment plant. I noticed you guys are doing work in there, put a water line or something in there.
Yep.
That could certainly happen as well, and that would eliminate the bottleneck for sure, going over to the sewer treatment plant, if you wanted to choose that. And that's an easy conversation to have with iFiber going forward, since you guys already have a contract with them and work with them. They just figure out what that mileage would be, break it down to a cost for an annual fee. in permanent perspective, the cost for the fiber, $840, if those wireless links took a shot of lightning, died, you're gonna pay a lot more money than, the $840 for those wireless links, and they
We
create
used
a
to
lot of money.
routinely take shots of lightning and die.
Did they?
And then we went to plastic, conduit,
Okay.
underground.
Then that's,
It would literally hit between the well and the well building.
Yeah.
It would hit out in the grass and,
right, there's a difference in potential, and that's where it
Yeah.
creates that issue.
Are you
Um,
saying this would be a cost savings? Are you making that argument?
well, no,
Alright.
because it was originally, that's fixed.
Alright.
That problem was fixed after
Just
we got
wanted to
hit
check.
second or third time, same place.
What are you doing with it?
What am I doing with it? We would be doing the same thing that you guys would be using it, the fiber for, same kind of cost to be able to feed our wireless internet network.
Alright.
So currently, we have fiber coming into the maintenance building. We would, reroute our stuff, have a wireless as a backup yet, like we currently have now, but the fiber would be our primary path. Like I said, our network's growing. We're working heavily with Ogle County and transporting their stuff, and we want to make sure we can solidify our,
Is Ogle County not your only client though, right?
pardon me?
Not familiar with your company.
Oh, LR Communications, okay, we have fixed wireless internet equipment up on the water tower. It comes into the maintenance building, then it wirelessly is fed across the train tracks, just similar to the village's network. And we would be doing the same thing, we'd be tying it fiber opposed to wireless as the primary path. Did that
Alright.
answer your question?
I'm just looking up your company.
Okay.
Yeah. So you must have then clients within the village?
Yeah.
We have fixed wireless customers in the village. I mean, we have 70 tower sites throughout Ogle County, a little bit of Winnebago County.
So like we have services
Do you?
through you
That's
guys.
what I was wondering.
We do, like,
very
we
well
have-
known.
I have-
Yeah. I mean, so like if,
Our-
Sorry.
not to be like, I'm not trying to sell LR Communications or whatever, but in terms of like all the stuff I see out there with MediaCom and all that other stuff, and everybody, oh, I'm down, or whatever, I don't ever have that issue.
Our company's, parent company is Leaf River Telephone Company. It's been
Yeah,
around
we've
since
had them forever.
1954.
And-
The LR commun,
And the minute
Okay,
it's
LR's
ever-
Leaf
LR's Leaf River Communications, correct.
They find it before we do. Like, they'll be the ones knocking on my door saying, you know what, it's slow, we
So
want
it'd
to run.
speed it up and not
like-
cause a bottleneck for your customers too then, right?
Yes, and it offers that scalability. I mean,
I have no issue with that, no problem.
okay.
So I have a question, so this is not my question, so I'm going to ask. So everybody, I'm gonna just, everybody has the contract that we have, like, and the reason you have that, I was asked a question that I'm gonna, where it says in section D, where we have the free internet and stuff like that, where we had the agreement before, where we had free internet and whatnot.
Yep.
And obviously, we don't use that anymore,
Right.
right? We don't use the free email or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that was part of the contract, that, you know, that's kind of like a, what's in it for us, what's in it for you kind of thing and whatnot. And I realized that, like, Rick, you had already mentioned that you'd be for that and so forth. Is there anything in terms of, I don't care as much about the village here, what's in it for us, as I would for residents, as far as, would it...
Helping the overall community, the rural part, the in-town,
Yeah, so-
options, sure.
Yeah, and so my question in that being too, so like I would assume as a customer, iFiber is probably better quality, but then you think of rates going up or whatever.
But iFiber's not really available from a cost perspective to residential services.
Okay. But-
And it's not there. That's why they partner with people like us, and we can get on that network and utilize the network to enhance whatever and deliver it to municipalities, your constituents,
Okay.
for internet. And like Rick was asking me, different changes and plans and such like that, we have upgraded the stuff on the tower to be able to offer competitive stuff to a coax plant or a frontier option. And that's where we utilize the iFiber network to get us into different parts of our network to be able to do so more effectively.
Okay. And then what are you talking about, like, once, like, if this is decided, ETA, how long is this how long?
Well, I talked to Kirby Cable. I know Brett said the village utilizes them, and I think, since there's no IDOT thing, I mean, we could really probably have this done in a couple of months. We obviously would want to get construction started before it gets frost in the ground. It makes it harder to do and usually a little more expensive. But, Kirby's local. I've done work with them. They're doing some other stuff for us, so yes, I would think a couple of months. I talked to Brett about the part that the village would need for the fiber. If you guys chose to do that and he would run the fiber inside the building, we would take on the splicing and not charge you for that because we'd have to splice our own anyhow. We'd be right there on the side of the building doing it. It should be a relatively short time period, but getting the stuff, all the crap done with iFiber is sometimes a little longer than I like to see.
Okay.
But I think it can be done in a couple months. I've got the paperwork in my email to present to you guys if you choose to do it, because you guys are gonna have to sign the stuff for the iFiber part. I can't sign that on your behalf or anything, so you've got the contract with them.
All right. So that's why I brought him to the board, so if anybody had questions or anything like that, they could ask, as opposed to Brett and I constantly having conversations, and Corey knows some of this is over my head, I'm not gonna lie about that. So like, honestly, with the iFiber,
Yeah.
literally, that's why I had to ask some questions, and that's why I wanted to find out, like, as far as residential end of things, what does this do for village residents?
Well, I mean, the internet is a huge thing for people that wanna sell homes or buy homes and move into places. DJ's in a good spot, you got cable, you got Frontier, you got us, there's options for people, but having a good fiber-fed local network, I think, has been good for us, and it's been, we pick up more and more customers in the subdivision, we're here a lot. And, the fiber benefit for us is good, having that access, but I think it also helps your guys' community to have the fiber resources in it. You know, we've talked about this a long time ago, fiber for business growth and such like that. Having the ability for us to get on that network could lure, I would think, businesses to the community potentially, because that is a resource that a lot of times they're looking for high-speed stuff.
So, my question is, we used to have you
Mm-hmm.
in our household, and we live far back in the subdivision, and we had to stop because you guys were great,
Mm-hmm.
but with the homes going up and trees maturing,
Right.
we weren't getting a strong signal.
Yeah, we've upgraded, we've got
So,
some
has
newer.
that been improved?
It has. We've added some equipment up there to all these antennas kind of spray in a, 360-degree fashion. We've segmented them so that we can split it more to penetrate those trees and such.
Okay.
Yes, and there is some newer technology to help mitigate trees and still come up with the higher, faster, the
Okay.
speed options that people demand today. The hardest ones to get, believe it or not, are the ones that are right near the water tower, because everything shoots over. Yep. Those are the most difficult ones.
No, we had you, we loved you, and
Well, I tell you what, if we put the new equipment up there, happy to come back to your house and try it and see how it works, because getting the real-life results is,
right.
a map is only so good until you get up on a roof and actually try it.
Anybody else?
I got really nothing else for my part of it, unless you guys got some questions. I wanted to try to present it as painless as possible.
Do you want this on next week for discussion? Now everybody's got a chance to look at it, we can send it out.
Sure.
All right, we'll get on the agenda for discussion next
I
week.
have to read that.
Yes, Sandy, next week.
And I'll find out for sure about the pricing, if I can get that confirmed on writing
That'd be great.
to reduce. I'm sure that they will. I think they're gonna be no issue.
And then if also this piece can be in there for Sandy to put in
Yes.
there that, Brett shared, that'd be
I have both
great.
of them for her, so I will give
Thank
them,
you.
I'll leave them in her inbox. All right,
Any more questions for me, or
And just, are you fine with my texting you if you need to come back to answer questions?
when would the
Because it's so much easier, to be honest.
next week, same time, or?
If you, no, okay.
I don't think, I think you should let William and Jared have a look at it beforehand. Next week's a voting meeting anyway, so,
Probably a committee would be better.
yeah, that would,
Or you could discuss more at the committee instead of the voting meeting.
yeah. No.
I'm not the only one here, I'm fine,
But I was gonna
whatever
say,
you
isn't
wanna
the
do.
next committee meeting, then the,
well, we have our
that's our special.
admin meeting next week, and then we have
Then we're
multiple off, because
Yeah, then we're
we have
off.
5 Tuesdays this month.
Oh, sorry, my
Yep.
mistake.
And then the fifth
And I guess
is that
next
other one,
meeting-
is the
And first, 8th, 15th, 27th,
water
29th.
study one.
Forgot the fifth was.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, we can hold, by all means, put it on the agenda for next week, and we can chat about it.
And if
And,
they have more questions.
Well, and they'll have the packet by Friday, so they'll have the weekend to review it.
If it's on
You
the
bet.
agenda for next.
and then they can just like jot their questions down and we can email Corey, because I won't have the answers.
Right.
So you want me to be here next week or no?
No, I guess not. And then
Okay.
I'll email you questions if they have any.
All right, that sounds
Yep.
great. When is your guys' actual voting board meeting on?
Next week.
Tuesday.
Oh, next week, okay. Then it would be the following month? There's one voting meeting a month? or-
It's always the
We have two.
second
Every other
and
week.
fourth.
Okay.
Second and fourth.
Okay.
Tuesdays.
Yep.
All right, perfect.
Unfortunately, this month we have 5, so we have a week off.
Yep.
And then it'll be the second Tuesday.
Okay. The following week I won't be here, so I was just making sure. All right, that's it for me then?
Thanks,
Thank
Corey.
you.
Thank you,
Thanks, Corey.
appreciate it.
Next on the agenda are the water usage and fuel report. Does anybody have any questions on those? I have
I do
two-
not, thank you.
I have 2 items that are not on the agenda. One of them is from Sandy. Last week, she had
Thanks,
mentioned
Corey.
that the zoning code, she wanted to get it, codified. And told you it would be, so I think she said it would be between $5,000 and $6,000 to have it codified. She did get the price back. It is $8,600
Oh, my God.
to get it codified. So, before she proceeded, she wanted to
Ouch.
run it by the board to see if it's still something we want to do, and then we can get it on the agenda next week to vote on.
Well, they all should match and be up there, so.
I agree.
I mean, we spent over 60,000 to get there, so what's another,
That gets it looked at.
and everybody can see it in its
Yep.
pleasure on the.
Potential businesses.
Yep.
All right. Everybody else okay with that?
Sure.
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll get that on the agenda for next week for approval. And then I contacted Nathan Hill. He will be starting November 4th.
Oh, so we did accept the offer?
He did accept the offer.
Is that a Monday? That's a Monday?
Yes.
Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, he's got some things he was wanting to finish up where he's at and give us his current employer time, so
What day again?
November 4th.
Okay, thank you.
That is all I have. Any questions on the FOIA report?
No.
Was there any new ones? Do you know?
There
Yeah.
appears to be 3
Yeah.
new ones. You want them?
Well,
Anybody have any
Team
questions on
them
them?
up?
That was like August and 2 in September.
Did you see them? Rick,
What's that?
did you see them?
The new ones? I have no problem with them. So FOIA's,
Not a matter of problem with them.
Mhm.
FOIA's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it is.
182 Fremont, is that the mold house, or is that a different house?
82, that'd be one of
I
the most.
think-
Yeah, 180.
It's
Oh,
a
that's
diff-
way, never mind.
That's a different
It's a
house.
different
That's way
house.
down there, never mind.
That's way, it's towards the end.
So the FOIA's were liens and code violations for 182 Prairie Moon, driveway and porch building permits for 107 Maple,
Where's
And-
107 Maple?
Court.
That's sure.
The alley.
by the grain elevator over here
Okay.
Oh.
at the end. And then solid waste contract, tonnage, sticker totals, prices.
What would they do, be?
Forensic,
Oh,
I don't know, forensic accounting?
Oh,
Right.
okay. Oh,
All right. We'll move on. Brenda?
okay, you'll see, we'd like to make a small change in the employee handbook under the sick and unpaid leave, that, just to add the saying, when people are taking sick leave or, vacation days, our handbook says you must use 1/2 a day. We would like to change it to say unless approved in advance by employee's immediate supervisor. So on some occasions, people are just going to the doctor and coming in an hour late and instead of taking 4 hours off.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
Sometimes people can do it on their
Yeah.
lunchtime, they can do, I mean, I don't think.
They have a
that's-
1/2 hour
Or
here.
if they have a half hour, then make it up if they need to be.
Well, if they go right there in the corner, it's possible, I mean.
All right.
I'm just saying.
It's,
Yeah.
You haven't been to the doctor lately, have you?
Depends on what you're going there for,
They don't mind making you wait.
that's all I'm saying.
So that's all we wanna do, is just update the handbook with those 2 little changes.
okay.
Okay, that'll be on the next week's meeting.
Okay.
Oh, and I think that's all I have.
Okay, we'll move on to committees. Jen?
Saturday, we had our fall party. I think we had around 170 adults and children, and that's lower numbers than normal. But it was actually, I had a lot of nice feedback on it. It was, I had Mr. Steve there, Mr. Steve Productions, he did the balloon animals. I didn't go with music this year. So there were a lot of comments about people saying it was much more relaxed, you could talk. The crafts went through the pumpkins, they had the popcorn going. I had, 2 high schoolers that were face painting, that went over really well, so I ended up having, Grace Fellowship was there, and they did a lot of, volunteering in the kitchen and stuff. And overall, I think it went really well. Yes, the numbers were lower, but a lot of positive feedback, and, I had 4 high schoolers got community service hours. And I do have some, like candy and some things left over, and we had pumpkins left over. And instead of letting the pumpkins go to waste or whatever, I had the FFA, the high school FFA had asked for them if we were just gonna let them go to waste or if we were gonna throw them away or whatever. So and then I had candy and things left over that I was just gonna, donate to the elementary schools, to their,
For their PBIS.
their PBIS, I just couldn't think of it. Their PBIS stores where the kids earn their money and they can buy little grab bags and stuff. Just wondering if anybody had any objection to that.
Nope.
I do have other leftover things, but I'm, saving that stuff I can save that for the community Christmas party, so. But if anybody doesn't have any objections, I can,
It would definitely
Clear
be
things out.
appreciated.
I didn't hear any.
okay. And that's all I have.
All right.
Back onto
It's an excellent idea.
the getting.
Anybody have Williams stuff?
Nope.
Nope. Then we'll move that to
For
whenever
the
he's
mowing
in.
fees and the burning ordinance?
Yep. We'll move
You
those to
wanna
when he's
discuss
here,
those?
or move them to next week.
Cause yeah, I think he was the one that wanted to
Yep.
chat about that.
I don't know. He was here. I don't know, that escaped him, but, okay. Ordinance enforcement. Are you still there, Jared?
Yeah, nothing at this time.
All right, Jared has nothing at this time. Parks, John,
Nothing this evening.
Do we have an update on the path at all?
Chris?
Yeah, it's not done.
Oh,
Thank
I'm-
you, Chris.
sorry.
That's all, Your Honor.
Actually, I do have an update on the
It
path,
definitely is.
unless Fergie wants to tell you. Well, they were supposed to pave it. They were, gonna take it out on Monday and pave it on Tuesday, but unfortunately, the, piece of equipment that they wanted to use isn't gonna be here till Thursday, so tentatively, they're scheduled to do it on Thursday. They have until Friday, other than that, then they'll be in violation. And there are also, projects, let's go over those, 'cause this is a big topic. The microsurfacing, microsurfacing, we've gotten a lot of calls about the roughness and the fact that there's some gravel that comes out of it and other issues, mostly in Ogle Crossings, because I think they're probably the last ones to actually have the microsurfacing. It does smooth out over time, and, they're going to sweep the streets in a week or two, tentatively scheduled to sweep them in a week or two so that some of the gravel will come out. But it will get smoother, and, it's not an aesthetically pleasing, product, but the idea is to extend the life of the roads, which you could extend it as much as 20 years, which would be helpful to the village, save money on maintenance, and we plan to continue to, fill the cracks or at least my plan is to continue to fill the cracks and do the microsurfacing, which is supposed to be every 6 years?
It just depends on the condition, how well things are holding up. I mean,
Yeah, from what I've read, it's,
yeah,
it rotates in as much as 6 years, but we'll see.
yes.
You know,
Yes. Micro is typically 5 to 7. Yeah.
And I hope that, Ogle Crossings road smooth out soon, so that, everybody's, happy with the product. And, there's a lot of good things with microsurfacing, and people probably should do some research on it if they're really curious about it, because it saves energy, it saves landfill space, it, uses a lot less materials, and it's more cost effective. And on a side note, it holds the sun better and we use less salt.
Which in turn destroys our roads.
Right, and your car, so,
Yeah.
it's an added benefit to it. The project, the street construction project for Frosty Morning and Red Fox, the road's been paved, looks very nice. But the ditches aren't complete, and they're supposed to come back and do the side of the ditches, for, Red Fox, and the project between 132 and 134, Harvest Glen, they're supposed to come inside that too. Again, they have until Friday. Other than that, unless you could think of anything else, those are it. If people do have more questions, they can call Fergie or myself, and we'll do our best to explain. That's it for streets.
All right,
you.
utilities.
I'm gonna let Brett share what he has first, and then I'll do that.
Okay. Well, I guess let's get this started. I guess we'll start with well 2, because that's what's on there. Don't let me forget, about pressing, please,
Okay.
before we're done, because I'll forget.
Yep.
Okay, so everybody's well aware that we did the well 2 project last year, basically this time, the rehab. And everybody is pretty much aware that we've had a vibration, since we redid it. Now, there was before we pulled the well, it was noted, from, can't remember the company that did it, Lane Western, whoever it was, that there was a very slight vibration note. It's in the report. But it was a vibration that, you wouldn't know unless you're holding them. It was very, very small. Since we redid the well, we put it back in, we have a fairly large vibration now. When we did the well project, we pulled the motor, we took it into PDC, they went through it, rebuilt it, whatever parts it needed, balanced it, everything else. We put it back when we reinstalled the well, we had the vibration. We thought it might be the motor. At first we thought it was air. We ran it for a couple of weeks trying to work all the air out, because we air burst it, if everybody remembers. So after that, didn't take care of it, we took the motor back to PDC, they went through it again, they checked everything on it. We actually had Brent Weaver go up, check it. They actually ran it on the bench while he was there. Now granted, that's not under load, but he said you couldn't even hear it run. It was perfect. So, long story short, we still have the vibration. I've been talking, over the past few months, with Cahoy, the company that did the well work. We did replace a couple of parts on our own, that they had suggested, which was a butterfly valve and a check valve. We did that. It's a good thing we did, because the check was starting to get weak anyway. You could push it down with a couple of fingers, so it was getting weak. Those are wear parts. Did not take care of the issue. So I spoke with Darren Cahoy, and you can see in your paperwork here, he had a couple items that he listed that it could be. Actually, it's part of that letter or the last couple pages of the big packet, but if you want to go to the letter, it shows right on the front page there, line shaft, for example, line shaft out of alignment, spider bearings. So there are several things that he said that it could be. So what Jason Vose and I decided was, we brought in, if you'll look at the small letter from Municipal Well and Pump.
I think you have the email
It's
from
separate, yeah,
Sandy,
it's a separate email.
It's not in the packet.
Okay, I didn't know how she did it. We had Municipal Well and Pump come in and give us a second opinion. They were one of them that bid this project, but they were high bid, so they didn't get the job. We had them come in and actually go through everything. They did vibration tests, and like I said, if everybody reads this, they'll understand what took place. They are basically telling us, you can see in here where it said we ran the motor light. So basically what we did is we took the top nut off of the motor, we basically disengaged that, or took that away from the actual...
Which one do you want open, Brett?
Go ahead and bring up the one from Municipal Well, where it says summary at the top. Just the short page and a half.
summary.
Yeah, it says summary up here,
We've got analysis, Cahoy letter, control, automatic control, and municipal well.
municipal well and pump. Or municipal pump and well, whatever it's called. So, they came down about a week ago. Yes. And, they went through it for us. They were a second opinion. No charge, no anything. They did an outstanding job. So they went through, they had basically a small vibration monitor that they were sticking on the motor in different places, checking things. And like I said, everything is basically laid out in his report here. Did a very good job. Because we were being told we were on the verge of taking the motor off for a third time and taking it to a different shop and having it gone through again. As you can see in his summary here from municipal, basically what we did was we ran what it calls run the motor light. We took the load off the motor. And as you can see from his results, there was basically any vibration in the motor. And you can see the last sentence of that paragraph, based on our readings and observations, the motor does not need to be looked at for a third time. So, what I'm kind of asking, or we need to discuss as a group, is if you bring up that Cahoy letter, Rick, if you don't mind. It's just a little easier on the letter than going through that whole packet of stuff, basically. If you go to the second page of that, okay, there you go. So what is being said that is if there is so basically municipal is saying that there's a problem in the hole,
Okay.
in the shaft, okay? That is
What we
basically,
believed as well.
basically the breakdown of that letter. And Cahoy does not have a problem with that, but what they're saying, what you see there are the prices. So is if for some reason that the problem is not in the hole, it is with the motor or one of those two items that he listed on the front page that not related to being in the hole, this is a rough estimate of what we're going to pay for them to pull that well again, inspect it, and put it back in the hole.
And that's-
Because it's not their problem. The motor is not their deal.
Okay.
Anything above ground is not theirs, you know. So,
Didn't we just determine that the motor was all right?
We have.
we've taken it, had it rebuilt.
Sorry, I thought maybe I missed it.
Well,
We need to look at the shaft down there, see if it's bang.
Well, just from a pure maintenance standpoint, when you've got something vibrating so hard,
What's he saying?
sorry, Jared, go ahead.
Yeah, we need to look at the
If that
shaft.
shaft down there, 1,000, is gonna make a little bit of vibration, we need to get it fixed, because we're just dumping money in it. It's a bit hole, so we need to check every single inch of that thing.
we're not dumping money.
Well,
Anyway,
we're-
I'm
we're-
sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, let Jared finish, whatever. I'm not
thought he
I
was
didn't
done.
hear what he said.
So,
Yeah.
Sorry.
from a ma-
The shaft.
It's hard for me to hear him sometimes with
Yeah.
the speaker, so
From a maintenance standpoint, if that motor has been gone through once, and you took it and they went through it again, and we took somebody down there and had them look at it, and then we had a third party come in and look at it, the motor probably isn't the problem. If you went from a very, very minute vibration to a vibration you can literally feel in your feet standing in that building,
yes, you can.
there's something that's not in tolerance down in that hole.
Right. And it could be anything from one of the spider bearings, I mean, there are several things.
I would want if we're gonna do this, and you're looking from the board, at a possibility of sitting at about a $25,000 charge ballpark, if they say there was nothing wrong, I would wanna make sure we have somebody there watching what they pull out, and then all of a sudden we don't get, number 7 spider bearing disappears and a new one goes in place, and we get a $25,000 invoice.
No, and Cahoy has been very, very good with this. I've had no issues, they're more than willing, they want to solve the problem just as much as we do, so it's not nobody's out to get anybody, they've been really good with us.
But this is like the third time, right?
No, not for the well, where we're talking about
No,
motor.
I thought that you had, the first time you had the vibration, then we had work done on the well, which included the air blast, right?
Back when Lane Western, the company before, long before I was even here, when they worked on that well, in their report, it said there was a slight vibration notice.
Right, I got that. That was when it was first put in.
Right.
So that's the
When it
first-
was redone.
When it was redone.
by
Rick will
Cahoy,
tell you that.
There's a significant vibration.
Yes.
Right, I know, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're saying there.
All right, well, I'm just saying that we had a slight vibration from the very beginning when it was put in, right?
When they reworked it, I don't think
Second
it was the original set,
All
but
right,
yes,
That's
correct.
Right, the second time.
Correct.
So that was, one time somebody inspected it and said everything was all right. You know, because they wouldn't have put it back together unless they thought it was all right, right?
I wasn't here, I don't know what
Well,
took place, Chris.
I'm assuming they're professionals and they wouldn't have put it back together. So then we did it this last time, right? And then we come back with the bigger vibration. That's Cahoy, right?
This
Who
is
did that?
Cahoy, yes.
So this would be, taking it apart would be actually like the third time.
Well, the reason we pulled it this time was because of the quote-unquote slight vibration that honestly, most people didn't even realize was there. That's how slight it was. And it was due to be pulled, inspected, refurb, basically. It was due. You do that every 8, 10, 12 years, whatever. So there was a couple reasons why we pulled it. We didn't pull it because strictly of the vibration.
So I assume if there's actually an issue in there, then it's on Cahoy to pay for it.
Right.
That's what it says in the...
If they don't find
yes,
an issue,
correct.
this is what they
Right,
want to build.
and I assume we eliminated that because we didn't wanna pay $25,000 now, or, you know,
That's
had the
why we
motor
did that
inspected
the
3
first
times,
time.
because we didn't
Yeah.
wanna pay
Right.
$25,000 for nothing.
Yeah, correct. But what I'm bringing to your attention is the dollar amount if they don't find anything wrong in the hole.
Yep.
It's not a
What
free,
if,
we
what if
pulled
they
it.
don't find anything wrong, and we come back and it still has a vibration? Is it just,
I don't know. We
you know,
deal
then
with that when we get to it,
we
I
hire
guess.
somebody else to do it because they, you know?
I can't answer the question because we have to get to that point, unfortunately.
So last month when
Yes.
Brett and I were talking about, I don't remember what week it was, but it had been about a month ago, we were talking
Mhm.
about this.
Yep.
That's when we said, let's just get a third party in here.
Yep.
Look at the motor.
Yep.
Just make sure,
Maybe we need a third party.
so
they-
it may be one of those things, I think if
Right.
Cahoy takes it apart, and their representative, obviously from,
Mhm.
who's the pump, not Grunfaust, who is it?
It's a Gould?
Gould's.
Yep.
So Gould's pump, if they don't find anything, I think before they put it back in the ground,
Mhm.
we may wanna see if somebody comes back out, we'll come back out and take a look at that thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Have an independent-
Because that way we
have an
avoid putting it
independent-
back in the ground and pulling it out again.
Yep.
Yeah, have an independent company
Right.
come and look and say that everything's fine.
Yeah.
And we may have to pay them,
Yeah.
That's.
and we probably
But
will,
it's not
because
to
it's
be
gonna,
that.
it's gonna, right, it's gonna be a little more
No, 'cause
time
it'll
intensive.
already be off, right? All
Right.
they'll do is an
Yep.
inspection.
Right.
So just so everyone's aware, they did, I won't get into all the tests and everything they did, but like I said, they did the vibration test. You can see what happens, you can see the results, from when we ran it light, which was .004, to when it was running under load, and it was, I believe, like at one point, it was a .8, which is way out of spec. The guys, that's not even, it's way too high. Long story short, he even throttled the valve down as we were running, and as he throttled the valve down and put, you know, basically cut flow, the vibration slowed with that. So, everything that municipal did, according to these two gentlemen, one of them's been doing this, he said for 40 years he's been there, it leads to in the hole. But what I want everyone, what I'm trying to say here is, I'm not a well expert.
748.
Jason Bose is not a well expert. We have talked this to death. I mean, at one point, this was a daily conversation. We just want everyone to be aware, we don't know what's wrong, we don't know where the problem is. I'm going off of another expert, that's why we got him in here. But I wanted you all to understand and talk about it, and if we wanna pull the trigger, we'll pull the trigger and tell
I'm
them
for
to
doing it,
pull
we gotta get rid of the vibration so we can keep one well too reliable.
Right.
And
Okay.
if it means,
Okay,
like I said, if they pull it out and they say that there's nothing wrong with it, we get a third party in here to go through everything and check it
Before
Okay.
we put it back in.
before they put it back in.
okay.
And we need to verify, I mean, not that Cahoy's out to screw us.
No.
I mean, this is a lot of
No.
money. This is a lot of money for the village.
It is.
It's just
And-
an accountability thing, that's.
Right,
Yep.
and we need to make sure we have somebody there watching what's pulled out, and
Never heard.
hopefully there's an aha moment
Agreed.
and they'll see something.
Yes, yes. Okay, I just needed everybody on board with that decision, so, because that's a good chunk of change. So, thank you. All right, well, thank you. Last thing for me is, I was in, Jason Bose and I have been talking, we were just informed, so pressing is coming up. And we were just informed, now, this is still ongoing, we're still getting information, so don't hold me to all of this, but we are not allowed to take our sludge to our landfill. We are just over their limit on radium, because we had to do a radium, what they refer to as a, I believe it's a 226, 228 test. Takes like a month to do. And we are just slightly above what they allow. So we are not, sounds like we are not taking it to our landfill. We just received a price this afternoon from Stewart Spreading to take it to DeKalb. Now, they do accept higher radium. We have to run a couple of tests for them, but I'm hoping no issues. They require a couple more tests. Jason Vose is looking into that, as he has an email into PDC and a call into PDC to find out about them. But the odd part is, we received the quote that, the one thing I did not, there it is. So, we were at 12.5 cents, with tipping fees to go to our landfill. We got a quote back from Greg, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the last name, this afternoon for, proposal for dewatering of biosolids and transportation of biosolids to the DeKalb landfill, including tipping fees, 11 cents.
And they're transporting?
Yeah,
Huh, like that.
I'm loving this.
I didn't,
So-
assuming you were gonna say they're not transporting them.
We did not see that one coming. Jason Vose and I were talking because we were looking at other options, and that happened to, because we were told we weren't gonna get this until next week. It came in this afternoon, in today, and they've got it at 11 cents.
What kind of volume do you think you have right now to press?
This quote, this proposal is based off of 600,000 to 700,000. Right now, we are at, our harvester's about full, which is 400,000, one digester, 125, so we're probably looking at I'm gonna say about 600,000.
How clean is the plant now, from where we started when Jason first came on board?
We run much more efficiently. I will put it that
I
way.
mean, as far as, we had feet of sludge in
Oh,
the,
no,
in the...
yeah, no. We don't have sludge sitting in every corner, in every clarifier, the blankets are maintained, at certain depths. We waste regularly.
No dead sludge?
No, we waste regularly. Once we do and a harvester's full, we let it sit. We transfer it to the digester, we transfer it to the harvester. We then attempt to dewater the harvester. Things run very, very efficiently out there now.
What was it last year, do you remember?
What's that?
The amount? I thought it was 600,000.
No, when we pressed last year, I think I don't have that in front of me, sorry. I think we got it at like 9.5 cents, but we also told them it would be like 500,000 or
Yeah,
something.
I thought it was more than that.
No,
But we
it was
were
like
under.
300,
We
almost
were under
400,000.
quite a bit, yeah.
So that's why the prices went up a little bit, is because,
No issue with that, I was just,
Yeah.
I was just looking at your 11 cents, but
Yeah.
that was based on 600,000?
that was based according to his new proposal that came in today. 11 cents per gallon dewatered, transported to landfill based on approximately 600,000 to 700,000 gallons to be invoiced, including tipping fees.
We don't think it's gonna be that much though, right?
It's gonna be around 600,000.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah,
all right.
if I have a full harvester and 2 full digesters, it may be 550, it may be 600, maybe 650. It depends on when they can get here and press too.
This is another one of those things that feeds into the water and sewer rate study.
Yes. So,
Because it costs a tremendous amount of money to be able to do this
Yes.
every year.
but like I said, this is still moving. I'm getting information, we spent a good chunk of the day on the phone
All right, though, that's good news.
talking about, yes.
That's better than what
So,
I expected.
I just wanted everyone to be aware that, and Sandy is aware, we're talking about contracts and different things like that, so, that's it for pressing. So actually, we might save a little money, depending. So, I think that's it for me.
And then I have in there, and this one actually I think is in the packet, it's the IPR, the resolution, and you see it every single year. It varies a little bit here and there. We did have some language that we had changed in there in terms of, their billing. They had like 7 days, and we had it changed to 30, I think. There were a few, there were not a lot, but there were a few rates that were a little higher. Again, obviously, I think there were like 3 that were higher.
They did do a rate increase, because I don't believe they've done one since they've started.
I have not seen the
This,
rates
I think,
change.
is the
We had
first.
some language change and whatnot, but, we do this every year. They basically, they perform the day-to-day tasks at the wastewater treatment plant, and,
Oh, I saw.
the things that we don't do, basically, is the best way, and advise on that as well.
What I liked about pulling them out is it's all the regulatory stuff. It's a third party, so they're gonna
It's
be,
just
they're
that
gonna
way,
stay
it's not anybody's
clean.
hands in it here.
Right.
That's a good thing, actually, for us. This is actually,
It keeps,
which is,
kinda like being audited.
it is, it just keeps things, easier to focus on what we need to focus on here in terms of maintenance and everything else, and then they take care of all that. So, you see it every single year. There were a few rates that changed this year. That's something that is gonna happen. And then the other piece, the language part, we already addressed, and they changed the language back to what we wanted to with regards to 30 days and billing and stuff like that. And that was about it. And it'll probably, I mean, I don't know if anybody has questions about it, but it'll be on next week's for voting.
We can do motion second, discussion.
Okay.
It'll make things go faster if we do motion second, discussion. Anything else?
I don't believe I do.
Anything on unfinished
Sure,
business?
I'm forgetting something, but no.
That's what next week's for.
True.
Dang.
We have no public, so there'll be no public comment. Just for the record, without our normal clerk or deputy clerk here, we neglected to plug the jack into the line in, till sometime when Corey was speaking, so I'm not sure how the audio will work for the first part of this meeting.
First 13 minutes.
Okay, so.
Well, we can use a great deal of this, because that's basically what he read off, because he read it off.
So, just for the record, it was just a mistake in not plugging the mic in, then we were playing with different jacks, and it's now, I should've caught it.
That means you
I
should.
plugged
But-
I plugged one thing in.
For the public, we're not trying to hide anything, it was just an honest mistake. Anything further from any board members?
Not at this time for me.
Motion to adjourn?
Jen makes a motion to adjourn, John seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. We are adjourned at 7:57.